Coming up next on All About Android, it's me, Jason Howell, and we have a jam-packed show. We've got Ron Richards, Wintwit Dow, and Florence Ion, all four of us, and we share our opinions on the Nothing phone. Flo actually has a lot to say about the Nothing phone, so you definitely want to check that out. Also, we show off the new Android 13 Easter egg. That's always a good time. This time it's really splashy. We reminisce about how great Google I/O 2012 was because we are now officially at the 10-year anniversary. It could go down as one of the best I/Os ever. Metaverse and Blockchain, both coming for your smartphones. Is that a good thing? I'm not really quite sure. Windows 3D Pinball coming to Android. We have a lot of fun with that, plus your feedback, and a whole lot more next on All About Android.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Blueland. Blueland is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing home essentials that are good for you and the planet. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/AAA. Hello and welcome to All About Android. This is episode 584, recorded on Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. Your weekly source for latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I go by Ron Richards.
On the internet.
On the internet. And on my birth certificate.
And I am known as Wintwit Dow.
Sometimes.
In multiple places.
Yes,
sometimes.
It's true. Actually, all over the place. And
all over the place.
There we go.
Oh, hey. Hi, Flo's here. Hi, guys. Hi.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you standing there. Welcome back, Flo. This is
for my monthly visit that I have court mandated. I'm here. Let's go play some games.
2 in 1.
I'm glad that Flo is here because now summer can finally start.
Yay!
Yes. Everybody knows
Flo saw
on All About Androids, summer does not start until Flo shows up and lays down the law. So that's right. We're excited.
And actually, this is your second appearance on the network in like 3 days, basically, because you were on Twit this Sunday.
Yes.
Wow.
I was, and it was an intense show, not gonna lie, because there's been a lot of intense things happening. Let's just not gloss over it. But as I was saying in the pre-show, I did manage to bring it back to my filth, and I managed to bring Paris Hilton and her deep fake Tom Cruise onto Twit. So my work was done, and thank you, Leo, for the platform to bring my shenanigans here to this network.
I wouldn't classify that as your filth. I would classify it as your delight. Because it was delightful.
I do think if you pull up the This Week in Tech page for the episode Flo was on and show our video viewers, the thumbnail is very, I feel like it encompasses Flo's appearance on that show because you see a Leo leaning in laughter and amused faces from the other guests. And there's Flo smiling because she just dropped a zinger.
Yeah, right. You're
like
right.
That is
right.
Like it is a very Flo. Like I know exactly what happened without even seeing the video.
We've seen this many times. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding. Whatever you said, Flo. Really, you rocked Leo.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
He can hardly stay in his chair. Good job. Good work.
Good job, Flo.
Boy.
Not easy to do.
No.
Well, welcome back. It's always great getting you on. We're happy that you could join us this evening. Before we kind of move on, though, Ron, I think you have something.
Yeah, quick shout out. This past weekend, I was in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, where I was attending the local New England pinball show called Pintastic. And I was walking through the hotel and I heard someone go, "Hey, Ron." And I turned around and look, and it is not someone I knew, but turns out it's a member of the All About Android community. So I want to give a shout out to Kevin. I didn't get his last name, but Kevin, who uses a Pixel 3a, who came up to Sturbridge for the pinball show. He said he listens to the show, and so it was great to see. It was always great to see people in person. Again, at least for me, I don't want to speak for everybody else on the panel, but if you see me in person, please come say hello. It's always a blast to meet people, and it gives me a chance to thank people individually for listening or watching to the show. So Kevin, thanks for listening and watching.
It was Kevin
I immediately
Bacon,
texted.
wasn't it?
I showed him as I was. It wasn't Kevin Bacon.
Oh.
I showed him as I was texting you guys, like, look, our WhatsApp group. Here, I'll tell them I saw you. And so, so there it is. So Kevin, thanks for listening.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
I'm sorry we couldn't all be at the pinball thing.
It was fun. It was a fun time.
It sounds fun.
Did Kevin say now that my Pixel 3a is no longer getting updates, I'm thinking of getting a new phone? What should I get?
He did say he's waiting for the 6A. He did say.
All right.
And I said, like me and my sister. Exactly. So, yeah.
Probably not going to have to wait very long. In fact, we don't have it in the rundown. But Flo, I know that you wrote about the 6A, right? Or is it the fingerprint sensors amazing on it or something?
Well, I'm just frustrated.
Yes.
I'm super frustrated because my sister leaves on vacation tomorrow and she wanted the phone, but it doesn't come to Verizon until July 28th or 29th, like a month.
Yeah, that's when it goes on sale. Pre-orders start July 21st. And I just wanted to add that I actually snarked on that fingerprint bit a little bit because nobody knows anything about this phone right now.
No.
Just because two people in Malaysia got this phone. I'm happy for them. Give them the YouTube hits. They deserve it. We need diversity in this world of, vlogs and all
economy.
the like. But you take it with a grain of salt, people. A grain of salt.
It has to be better than an on-screen fingerprint reader. That's all I got to say.
Well, it is an on-screen fingerprint.
It is an on-screen fingerprint reader. And they compared it to the Pixel 6 Pro and they compared it to the Samsung Galaxy 22 Ultra. And like in all instances, it just was a reminder that actually Face ID is the best.
Yeah.
We need Face ID on Android.
No.
Chop.
I mean, we had Face ID on Android with the Pixel 4 XL and Soli Radar.
Yeah.
Even though everybody,
existed,
we made fun a lot of
sleep.
the Soli Radar, but that was like one of my favorite things about the Soli Radar. It made the Face ID system on that phone pretty solid. So it wasn't totally useless.
I know.
Just a little useless, or maybe a lot useless. But anyways. Right on. Well, Kevin, this show is for you. We dedicate this show to you, Kevin. And you might get the show dedicated to you if you see us somewhere and you say, hey, I'm a fan. I watch or listen. So there you go. Next time you see us, don't be quiet. Come up to us. All right. Let's dive into the news. I don't know what I just signed us up for, so I'm a little scared. Burke, let's check out the news.
The news today, it's all about nothing for real. Nothing.
Yeah. All about nothing in the news today, and we promised you last week. We talked about your story a little bit, Flo, but we knew that you were coming back this week, and so take it away, Flo. Tell us what you think about the Nothing phone.
See, I don't know. Like, should I walk you guys through all of this because we already know that?
Sure.
Okay.
No,
pretty much.
I want a day in the life of Flo when the Nothing phone gets revealed.
Oh my God, Ron! I almost burst a blood vessel. I was just caps lock in the Slack chat with my coworkers. I was just
awesome.
Like, what is the hype over this situation right here? Like, who cares if Marquez got his hands on it? It's nothing. And I still kind of feel that way. I still kind of do, even with the 900 LEDs on the back of this, which, sounds very cool. It definitely like harkens to an Android design paradigm of the past. I definitely thought about, remember when we would go in and customize the notification light on the front of the Android phone?
Yeah.
To, blink blue or green or red for notifications.
Yes, I remember that.
You guys remember?
Mm-hmm. I totally remember that.
Yeah, good days.
It was exactly. It was a good time. And so maybe this will have some of that good time. But I'm telling you, there's nothing about it that tells me this moves the needle on the Android platform as a whole.
And that's Flo. That's a lot. I don't know if you watched last week's show. I know you listen to every show every week when you're not on, but I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it yet. Yeah, well, I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
But we talked about it last week where, yes, this is intriguing, but does not paint a complete picture.
Correct.
Right.
Now, before we get into that, I just want to say I am noticing a lot of similarities between the hype campaign around this phone and the hype campaign that we had back in 2014 for the OnePlus.
Shocking.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's not. But the thing is, part of the reason I had the caps lock on is because it's hard to look at nothing as
Something
more than a try again. You know the Aaliyah song, Rest in Peace, if at first you don't succeed.
Yeah, crickets.
Carl Pays listening to this song. Dust yourself off and try again.
Try again.
Try again.
50% of us know that song.
Yeah, not surprising.
So, thank you, Whit, for yes. Anyway, all I wanted to say is I just feel like I really need something revolutionary, and I don't know if it's in 900 LEDs on the back because we already know what the version of Android is like on this because we have a launcher that we can play with. So,
and that was pretty underwhelming.
Does the launcher make? I mean, the launcher is just a piece of a larger puzzle, just like the LEDs on the back of the phone. Although I'm still disappointed that while the phone is transparent for the LEDs, it's not fully transparent. Like I want to see electronics. Like I want Flo. You weren't on the show, but I'm sure you listened to it again. We talked about how in the 90s the fad of clear plastic electronics.
Yes, I was there.
The clear. Oh, were you on the show that week when we talked about that? Or
I was there in the 90s.
Oh, in the 90s, right? Yes, yeah. So you probably had the phone, right, and all that sort of stuff. I wanted a clear plastic nothing phone, so I'm still a little bummed out about that. But yeah. So yeah.
Do you think, Flo, it's possible that we still don't know all the secrets that there are of this phone, or do you think we've seen the big reveal?
I mean, we still need to see the full spec list. That's the thing that we need to see. And how
impressive would the spec list have to be in order for us to go, whoa, this really has something new? Like, I can't think of anything that would appear on a spec list that would make me do that. I think, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel like we've seen the Monty. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Unless the specs are, unless there's like ridiculous amount of memory or storage space, or like we don't know do we know what processor it's using? Do they have their own processor? Camera? I don't know pop-up camera with those cameras on the back of that phone, but like I'm with you, Jason. Like, what could the spec list say that would surprise us, other than it being less than what we would expect? Unless there's some aspect of it that's going to blow our mind, right?
And there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that'll blow our mind,
especially.
Go ahead, Wynn. Sorry.
Oh no, just saying. Yeah, I don't think like a terabyte of memory is gonna. I mean, it would be amazing, but I don't think that would, as Flo said, push the needle. It would just.
No. It would be kind of a question mark if that happened. It'd be like, okay,
what
why?
If it comes with a bird?
Oh.
Like every phone you get a parakeet or a parrot, it comes with like the phone case is a cage of a bird, and you have to buy. Annoying. You want the phone, you have to get the bird.
Yeah, so. You're marketing only to bird lovers then, and that's not a winning strategy.
No, it's not a good strategy. Yeah,
I was gonna say, the strategy is they need to have, if they're going to do anything with this in the United States, they need to have carrier backing, which they do not have, which is why it feels like such a moot point when we build hype around this stuff. Like, in all sincerity, this is how I feel, which is that it feels like a moot point when you don't have carrier backing, especially in the US, because everything here is driven by the big carriers.
Yeah.
So anything that you would get into your hand is because the carrier that you're with has allowed you to have access on their network with that particular device. And if you don't have access on the network, then there's no point to getting that device. So even if this spec sheet comes out and it goes, hey, we work on this band and this band and this band in America, it's likely not going to be the kind of parity with, a Pixel or a Samsung, which are
for sure
the two big ones right now.
Well, on that topic of coming to America, right? The day after our show last week, the news broke that Nothing Phone isn't even coming to the US, that they're focusing on Europe.
Yeah. Because they're based in the UK, which makes sense. Yep. You can look at the carrier listing that they already have in that auction that they're doing through DropX. And by the way, the whole DropX thing, so I didn't know about StockX at all before writing the story last week. My editor is the one who turned me on to the fact that this is where people were doing the fire sales for GPUs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so there was an air of dubiousness at first, like, is this really the real nothing phone, or is this just some like weirdo?
I was in Manhattan last week, and I walked by StockX's office, and I was like, oh, hey, StockX.
What if they have nothing phone?
Yeah,
and I became aware of them a couple of months ago because they came up at work and talked from there. But no, they're legit and they're real, and it's sneaker. I was described to me as this where the sneakerheads are buying sneakers.
Yes.
And then I looked into it and found out about the GPUs and all that fun stuff. But it's wild. It's totally wild.
It is wild. Yeah. It is wild. And that's also why it reminds me a lot of the OnePlus blueprint, because remember, that was a really exclusive phone. And back then they really relied on hype to deliver it, to get market share out there. And remember, you had to like invite a friend. If you bought a phone, they would give you an invitation to like invite somebody, which created this air of exclusivity. And I just feel like the same thing is happening here. And it's just frustrating to me because just come out with it.
But a large part of what worked for OnePlus initially was the high quality, low cost aspect of the device, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh my, I can't believe it's that inexpensive, and look at the quality of what you get. Does nothing have to do the same thing with this phone? Because if they come out with $1,000 phone, I don't know if it's going to be $1,000 or not, but if this thing comes out at $1,000, I feel like it's kind of dead in the water. It's almost like they have to play by the same playbook. We are a brand that no one has ever seen release a smartphone before. How do you get the most attention? You release a high quality device at a low price. Obviously, eventually, somewhere down the line, after many iterations, many different variants, their strategy probably goes higher and more expensive the way OnePlus has, because that's just what you do as you get more successful, right? But I don't know. Do you think, if you had to guess what the price of this is going to be, Flo, what do you think? 600, 700, 800? I don't know.
I don't know, but I will say that I remember that the first OnePlus, I'm not looking this up, I'm just going off the top of my head, that the first OnePlus also had an older spec in it. Not older.
I remember that. I remember that. It was like
price.
Really?
It was like, don't pay attention to the spec, pay attention to the price. Like it was more, they downplayed the specs. Yeah. I don't think they're going to go in that direction with this nothing phone. I think first off, Jason, we should adjust our price predictions to be in euros or in pounds, please.
Yes, right.
So, but I think it's gonna be flagship level priced.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
We'll see how that works for them.
Yeah, we won't have to wait too long. It's coming out in a couple weeks. So
yeah. Totally.
Yeah, no, it's 14 days or whatever it is, or 15 days. Yeah. Jason, I do enjoy the roller coaster that we're on with nothing, where like it's going from like, wow, this could be real, like industry disruptor. I wonder what Carl Pei is going to do, to you just saying a few minutes ago, it'll be dead in the water.
I mean, if it comes out at $1,000, that's just a tall order for a company that's never released a smartphone. It's just, I mean, it could be a really
Jason,
great, cool
we're in a recession.
Thing. Yeah, okay. Right.
Milk costs $7 a gallon. Okay, gas costs $7 a gallon. So, it's just...
Yeah. Who the heck knows this weird sort of transparent
$200 a piece of RAM.
A piece of RAM. Just a corner of it.
It's $3,000 on StockX. It would be weird if it was $3,000 on StockX. I know StockX, the whole StockX is, again, stunt and hype and meant to blend exclusivity. It doesn't feel like high quality, low cost to put it on StockX, which is also just a weird form of it's either like it's even more exclusive than before. It's not even exclusive. It's even like going to this weird market of people that buy high end shoes on StockX, like
more than
collectibles. Yeah, it doesn't. Use. It feels like a different market, and I'm kind of with you. I'm a little bit tired of it. I'd rather just have an innovative, interesting phone that maybe is flagship, but with this much hype and pomp and circumstance and yada yada yada. It's a lot. It's just in a too much kind of way that doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean.
But I think the intangible quality, the intangible question that no one can really answer is, all right, so then what makes an interesting smartphone? In today's day and age, what is interesting enough for them to reveal it, and for critics like us and many other people to look at it and go, yes, that's what we've been waiting for, and I don't know that any, especially a new smartphone company, but that any company really knows. And that's why it's kind of been boring. That's why we're kind of in a boring
camera.
Zone. But even camera, like even that has been totally commodified to the point to where mid-range phones, largely have very great cameras at this point. So that's not even a feature.
Mid-range phones from Google.
Yeah, sure. But if you have that amount of money, you can find a phone that scratches that itch.
Right.
What is the new that we're waiting for? And I don't know that anyone can really answer that. I don't know that I've heard a really great answer for that from anyone.
I can't believe how much it's being overhyped. Oh wow! Did you see that DropX drop? It's fluctuated now. 17%.
Yeah. Now it's hitting the realm of actual like cost. Might actually reflect the cost that it's going to release.
This would be super fun to have a ticker, by the way, of just like DropX, just for the Android phones, or like different Android bits out there.
You should get one of those pixel lights that are advertised on Instagram that you can plug into stock tickers, and you can do it that way. You can put it on
plug
your
it into
StockX.
Yeah, that's great.
The nothing has gone down. It's going up. It's going up. It's going up.
Following all the fluctuations. So important. All right. Well, thank you for giving us your unfiltered opinion of the Nothing phone.
Perhaps a little too unfiltered, but yes.
It's okay. This is a safe place for that.
I was here for it, and I'm happy to have
No tagging.
Heck yeah.
No tagging.
All right. Well, that said, moving on to something a little more tangible for all of us. There's another point release of Android 13 beta 3.3 is rolling out to Pixels. And all fixes relate to the connectivity issues. So if you're worried about those connectivity issues, all the fixes relate to that. Some of those issues were like being unable to connect to a solid Wi-Fi access point, or slow Bluetooth performance, and a few UI related fixes. But the main marquee feature in Android 13 beta 3.3 is finally we get the Easter egg. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I could walk through it while you describe
Email of the
it.
week.
You're confused,
Thank
Ron.
So for our video viewers, you can watch Jason over his shoulder once Burke changed the shot. But for our audio videos, we will explain it to you. Open up your Pixel and go into the settings, and then tap About Phone.
So let's see here. So go About Phone.
All right, let's wait for Jason to catch up. About Phone, then tap Android version, and then tap Android version again.
All right.
And then set the clock to 1 o'clock, and then tap and hold things to see lots of different changes happen.
Okay. So there we go.
Ta-da!
So that's that. And then
it explodes to dots and the number 13. And if you tap it, it changes the emojis or the monkeys or the moons or the fish or the astrology or moons or hearts.
That's great.
Honestly, Flo, were you involved in the design of this? Because there's a lot of Flo-esque imagery here.
No, but I do follow Chief Emoji Officer at Google, and this looks like something that was concocted in the lab over there, and I love it. And I love it.
It's right up your alley, right?
Like these are like create this.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is just emoji bombing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Which, by the way, much healthier than love bombing.
Yeah.
Love it. Good Easter egg. Oh, look at that one. With the dogs and cats. That's great.
So
look, it's me.
Yeah, so if you've got a Pixel and Android 13 beta 3.3, follow the instructions. If you didn't listen to me say it, you can find it online, but the Easter egg is there. So
and when
it's emoji-erific.
Yeah. When you get your Android 13, you'll be able to do this too eventually. So whenever that
when you grow up, you'll be able to do it. When you're older.
And until then, I'll be tired because I will have done it a million times and it'll be so old hat by then.
I've seen all the emoji. I don't need it.
I've done it. I've been there. Yeah. All right, Wynn, you got the last one. This is actually, I think, a fun one. We talked about this a little bit not too long ago, but now it's official.
Yeah, so we've been looking a little bit forward between nothing and Android 13. Let's look a little bit back. A friend of the show, Will Saddleberg, wrote a really great article kind of marking the 10-year anniversary of Google I/O 2012 as, quote, a high watermark for innovative hardware that has yet to be approached again. And if you need a reminder, 2012 was that amazing year where during a presentation for Google Plus, which, Google Plus, Sergey Brin interrupted the presentation to basically show that they had a team of skydivers wearing then recently announced Google Glass as they kind of live from a plane, jumped out of a plane onto the roof of the Moscone Center. And can you imagine the permits they got for that? Like actually jumping on the Moscone Center. I was actually as an adult, this is what I think of now. It's like, wow, I wonder what kind of permits they got for skydiving
right?
onto the roof of the Moscone Center.
So true.
And and all of the skydivers were wearing Google Glass. So it was a really interesting, kind of hypey demonstration, ridiculous, over the top demonstration of this new hardware. And I hadn't seen this in a long time, and I watched it afterwards. Even after the skydivers landed, they gave him to BMX bikers who jumped over the buildings, and then they actually rappelled down the side of the building to the Moscone Center and gave him to another BMX biker who just charged up stage to where Sergey Brin was, and everyone was wearing Google Glass, and it was it's kind of a feeling you just don't get anymore.
No.
This kind of ridiculous, stunty, just over the top. And I kind of watching this, it kind of makes me sad because I feel like it's hard to feel skeptical or cynical watching this because it's just so silly.
Yeah.
And
it's so
over the top.
It's so Web 2.0 hubris, and And Jason, if you recall, we were there.
Yeah, well, I remember that.
Right?
Absolutely.
I was sitting next to Jason during this presentation and couldn't believe it was happening. But also, not only did this have the skydiving, but this was the ill-fated Nexus Q event too, right?
Yep.
It was. Actually, Will makes some really good kind of parallels between, the Google Sphere as it is now and this 2012 announcement. Because yes, Nexus Q was announced. This little, I knew Jason was going to love this story because of the Nexus Q, which was that kind of really black, spherical, kind of it's basically was a precursor to Chromecast. And it was really interesting because I watched the video again, and it's all kind of talking about how, it felt like I was trying to drag things back to gadgets because at this point, we're increasingly more software driven, and they really wanted a cool gadget. And it was this whole social streaming experience, but you could only stream content hosted on Google Play branded apps and YouTube, which was a little bit limiting. Nexus Q app
super
was
limiting
great.
For what did it cost? Like a $300 device?
$300.
Did it ever go on sale?
No.
Did it ever actually go on sale? No. Yeah.
It did.
People just got them for free, afterwards, right?
Yeah.
If you pre-ordered.
I still have mine.
Yeah, we had one. Yeah, we still have ours, I think. Or maybe I made my husband throw it away. Finally, I don't remember, but and it's interesting because this was about a year before Chromecast came out, and obviously Chromecast went in the opposite direction. Was hyper cheap. I remember we had 3 of them because they were $30. They were more friendly to third party streaming content, and it actually was a good competitor in a world of Apple TVs and Rokus. But you can see kind of the start of that. Of those ideas and that kind of approaching this space with the Nexus Q. Nexus Q didn't go anywhere, but it was there in 2012. And kind of we'll talk some other stuff like Nexus 7s. The Nexus 7, the first Google tablet was 2012. Classic.
$200 for the Nexus 7. That was that was what was so crazy about that. I mean, it was just high quality, low cost.
And portrait form factor, so it was very much like a Kindle, very direct Kindle competitor, and the second gen was even better. And I don't know. Does anyone have not fond memories of the Nexus 7? Just it was
I love
just a
my
great
7
tablet. I still love
the Nexus 7. The Nexus 7 passed my back pocket test. Remember?
That's right.
I could fit it in my back pocket.
That's right.
Not mine. Yep. Women pants issues, but and I didn't actually realize, but it actually had Google Now, which was kind of also the Google with the predictive cards that and it's kind of weird now thinking back then about Google using its swaths of data on you to try to anticipate and predict things. It was charming back then. It's a little bit different now. How everyone is kind of matured and feels about Google and
for sure.
Data collecting but back then it was kind of interesting to have Google Now and hey, you should leave at this time, or
magical.
Hey, it was magical, and we kind of started seeing the potential of data. We now also see the ills, but that came with the Nexus 7 and a bunch of other things. But I think there was a lot of really interesting because now in 2022, 10 years later, augmented reality glasses are coming back. Chromecast is still doing really well. And then tablets have come back from the dead for the third or fifth or whatever time. And, I think there is a sense of hype and kind of joy that is missing from Google I/O these days. We just all are kind of just seen there, been there, done that, and have a lot of opinions and maybe some disappointments. So there is something really special about that 2012 Google I/O, which Will kind of captured in his article. So it was really fun. You should definitely take a read and watch the dang skydiving video again.
Yeah, we were showing parts of it.
Geez.
I mean, that keynote was really in looking back, kind of, that was a special year for Google I/O because there really was a ton of excitement that year and wonder and surprise. I mean, Android 4.1. Jelly Bean was the version that was happening then. Android as a platform still had a ways to go to mature. So there was still a lot that could be done to Android to really surprise things. And this kind of touches on what we're talking about with Nothing. We are 10 years advanced in technology from the time that was recorded. And I mean, everything has changed in 10 years. Our perceptions of what, data collection is good for. Back then, it was magical. But now, a lot of people see that data collection and harvesting as like an evil thing or something, that has unintended consequence, and that's just one example. So, I mean, we just have a different outlook on what technology is, for better and for worse. Yeah.
Do you guys
think?
Do you guys think that because Google I/O has become such a showcase of the AI and the assistance capabilities that it's lost some of that developer magic? Because it feels like the show is no longer about, I mean, it is about the Google products, but I just don't know that the keynote, which is what everybody sees, because we're, the general public is not watching the developer sessions afterwards the way that we are and pouring through the stuff, nor are they reading, the blogs and saying what's up. Do you think that because it's become the main focus that it's lost sort of its charm and magic a bit?
I mean, I know. I'm curious. I mean, I do.
Ask a hard question.
I do think that it's lost some of its charm and magic for that
because
reason.
Now that's the primary part of the conversation. It's become about that technology and the ethics behind it, and how Google's using that, which are all valid things. Yeah. But I just wonder if the developer conference is the place that we should be having those conversations.
Well, but the thing is that you've already got Apple doing the same. True. Right. So, the Apple schedule of announcements, remember, it was the January announcement was the big one. Then it shifted to WWDC, and then they also do one in the fall. I mean, they're both doing the same thing, and it's an excuse to drive the developer conference, in its core has, the purpose to bring developers together to get feedback, to interface, to educate, to all that sort of stuff. But it becomes a very visible public hype fest. And the marketing PR opportunity is too good to give up. And so now the two have kind of merged, right? And it didn't used to be that way. WWDC wasn't a marketing event back in the day, if you remember. Mm-hmm. So
that's true. That's true.
I blame Google
capitalism
less.
Kill.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the summary, but I blame Google less for this flow than I would blame Apple. I feel like Apple paved the way for it. But I liked it a lot. I mean, it was a lot better when, and I feel like we've seen the ebb and flow of the fall announcement for Google to be important, not important, big, not big, right? And it seems like the only thing that they can really, really get behind is I/O, and it's a hybrid of the two now. So,
yeah.
From a dev side, it's kind of interesting. As a dev, the dev side of it has also kind of mirrored the consumer side, where I think just after 10 years of a lot of this, and I think there's still some excitement on the dev side. There's always, in a similar way, there's always crowd pleasing demos. There's features that we look forward to, and there is some hype still. But I think at the same time, after 10 years of Android dev and features that kind of fell flat, things that just didn't pan out, kind of just mirroring a lot of the stuff that we just talked about. Dev tools are the same way, and I think we definitely, I think it's fair to say that devs mirror that feeling of like old hat, like hard to get as excited. We're probably at least 60% cynical. I think that's happened to us as well. And maybe that's just as a platform matures, we get old and we're all getting just old and cranky, and it takes a lot to impress us. So
yeah, I think there's some truth to that too. Yeah,
yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to show up to the meetups with like our vintage Android gear and just be like, man, we were around when this stuff was way easier, man.
Back in the day.
It's about the software,
Back in the day. Yeah.
I actually was talking to a junior dev, like she's still in school today, and I caught myself I guess I'm really sorry. I feel like I'm like an old Android dev talking about the good old days, because I kind of was I was kind of having this like whole rant about how, you know, back when Android first started, like unlike iOS, we had to like do all kinds of form factors and support all kinds of stuff, and it was a lot harder. And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm talking like an old person. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, it happened. We kind of grew up with Android.
Yes,
we didn't have this back in my day. You know, all you kids these days with your flagship phones and
with your Kotlin and
with your Kotlin. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, cool stuff. Everybody should definitely read that piece in Android Police and remember what it was like when Google I/O was flashy and skydivey and stuff, and BMX bikey. Let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode. We are already running a little long, but that's okay because we got really great stories coming up. But first, this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Blueland. I'm a big fan of Blueland. We've got Blueland products throughout our home since well before they were a sponsor of the network. So I love having Blueland on the show. Did you know that an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away each and every year? And if that's not bad enough, most cleaning formulas are actually 90% water. And what does that mean? That means those products are super heavy to ship. That leads to excessive carbon emissions. Also, those products are often filled with, nasty ingredients, chlorine, ammonia, just to name a few. That's a lose-lose situation for you and the planet. And if you ever feel overwhelmed by the number of plastic bottles and containers that you're throwing away, or maybe you've thought about purchasing more eco-friendly products, but you didn't know where to start, well, that's kind of what Blueland is all about. Maybe you've tried a few green products, but you found them ineffective, or maybe they were just too expensive. Meet Blueland. Seriously, Blueland is your choice, your go-to here for achieving all of this. Blueland is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing home essentials that are good for you and good for the planet. It's all about this tablet experience, a tablet refill solution. So you've got, this is just one example. This is the multi-surface spray bottle that you get from Blueland. Really nice quality plastic. This isn't like a plastic that once this is empty, you're going to want to throw this away, right? It's meant to be reusable, so it's high quality. And then you end up getting these Blueland tablets. In this case, the multi-surface cleaner. And so what you'd end up doing, you'd end up, tear off the paper, drop this in, fill it with water, and then it gets to work. It activates, and then you've got the multi-surface cleaner. It didn't have to ship with all of that liquid already inside the bottle. When it's empty, you don't throw away the bottle. You end up just pulling out another tab, tearing it off, putting it in there, and you start over again. And that's just one example. I mean, they're forever bottles is kind of what they refer to them as. You fill it up with warm water, drop that tablet, and you get to cleaning. And those refills are actually pretty inexpensive. They start at $2. So you don't have to buy a new plastic bottle every time you run out. You can even set up a subscription so that you never run out of the products that you're using the most, and you save even more when you buy in bulk as well. So that's like a cleaning spray, but they also have hand soap, toilet cleaner, laundry tablets. All Blueland products are made with ingredients that you can feel good about. And, we've got hand soap dispensers throughout our house, Blueland hand soap dispensers, and we just love them. I mean, and ours, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, the containers are glass. They're not plastic. So, they're even more durable because of that, but it's just awesome. And the quality of the soap that we get from the hand soap dispenser is just awesome as well. So you can try their Clean Essentials kit. Has everything you need to get started. Blueland products come in refreshing signature scents, things like iris agave, fresh lemon, eucalyptus mint. And for a limited time, their hand soap is getting a summer upgrade with 3 refreshing new scents. You've got strawberry rhubarb, citrus patchouli. Oh, that sounds interesting. And coconut palm. Blueland really is remarkable. You got to check it out for yourself, and you're going to love it because you're not going to be throwing tons of plastic in the recycle bin every single time you're done with that soap pump. You're just going to drop a new tablet in there and keep using. And it makes you feel good. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/AAA. That's 15% off your first order of any Blueland products by going to blueland.com. Don't forget /AAA at the end of that. Blueland.com/AAA. Check it out for yourself. 15% off your first order. And I guarantee you're going to love it. Blueland's awesome. And we thank Blueland for their support of All About Android and for keeping my hands clean when I got to wash my hands. Thank you. All right. We got some interesting hardware to talk about. Let's do it. Let's dive in right now. From crypto. Burke's having a day. It's cool.
News so
I feel
nice,
like
we needed the bumper twice.
Yeah, I feel like the first story is so hardcore that we needed 2 hardware bumpers.
It's true. Mm-hmm. It's true. From crypto to the metaverse. So we got 2 parts, a story in 2 parts. First of all, we all remember Essential, right? From the dust of Essential was a strangely named company called OSOM, or OSOM.
Painfully named.
Yeah, I know. Wow. So they were going to release a new smartphone called the OSOM OV1. And apparently they still are going to release a smartphone, except now it's become a partnership with the Web3 company Solana. So the new phone is going to be called the Solana Saga. It's, quote, a flagship Android mobile phone with unique functionality and features tightly integrated with the Solana blockchain, making it easy and secure to transact in Web3 and manage digital assets such as tokens and NFTs. Pretty sure we could break down that sentence and put little check marks next to all of the keywords, and you'd have Web3 bingo in that one sentence. You got NFTs, tokens, blockchain, Web3, Solana. I mean, the digital assets, they're all there. If you want one of these, and I'm sorry, I can't explain to you exactly what it does because that's about all I understand. $100 pre-order deposit starting today. $1,000 is the full price. I mean, specs are premium. Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chip, 12 gigs of RAM, 120 hertz high-res display. So I mean, yeah, the specs look pretty good, but what do you think? Blockchain Web3 phone? Huh?
I mean, sign us up, right? I mean, is there anything more up our alley than that? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Look, we're waiting for innovation. We're waiting for phones to do things that are new. This is new, at least, right? Have we seen this before? I don't know that we have. Flo, you look like you're puzzled.
I really feel for the developers who came over from Essential, which was disgraced by its founder, who have tried really hard to make something else. And I do feel like the payout from this could be potentially huge for those people.
Sure.
Because
it's lucrative.
Because it's exactly. Yeah. And for that, I hope you guys get the payday. I really do. And I hope that, from what I understand, because I don't have money to play in the metaverse like this. So I haven't touched it at all. But from what I understand, this is an untouched thing in the Android world. So this would be it would be very good to be a company aligned with some hardware developers, let's say, aligned with like mechanical engineers and such, who could make this a phone for the blockchain.
For the blockchain.
If that made sense, anything I just said. Listen, it's happening. I understand everybody's resistance in it.
Yeah, it's a thing that's happening.
It is what it is.
It's a movement, and there are a lot of people that have bought into the idea of it. again, though, we come up on this challenge for a company like OSOM, who's trying to show like, hey, we're playing this game. Is the majority of people going to really understand why this phone? Like, why this phone? Oh, okay, so Web3. So tell me how and why. Why does that matter to me? What do I do with that? I still don't know. But maybe that's my limited understanding of Web3.
It's definitely a niche.
It is. It is.
It is even amidst. I mean, we're Flo mentioned at the top of the show as we're economy is heading towards a recession. Which yes. By the way, just on the side, like I admit I'm in middle age now, but the number of recessions I've already lived through, it's all going to be fine. This is like life is cyclical, economy is cyclical. This is what happens. You go through a downturn. That's what happens before an upturn, right?
Yeah,
so whatever.
True.
But even despite the crypto crash recently, it's still chugging along. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I've got friends who work in crypto and in various capacities and things like that. No one is running for the hills and saying, "Oh God, what were we thinking?" You know what I mean? Like it's yeah.
That's true. So. That's true, right? So there's some steam behind it, obviously. I don't know if that's going to end up being like enough for a company like OSOM. I guess we'll find out, but. That's not all. I said this was a story in two parts, right? Now we've also got HTC, which we've talked about on the show in previous episodes. The rumors bubbling that their next phone was going to be a premium smartphone and it was going to be tied to the metaverse somehow.
I can't believe y'all are talking about HTC. I'm just getting that.
Hey, look, there was a time that HTC reigned supreme.
I know. There was a time I was...
It's hard to like write them off entirely, but now they were releasing the HTC Desire 22 Pro, and its big bet, like I said, is leaning into the metaverse. Doesn't end up being a premium smartphone after all. It's listed at £399 sterling with an August 1st release. They say it's a, quote, perfect companion to HTC's Vive Flow VR headset. And yes, NFTs are here too. It's going to include a digital wallet to manage crypto and comes with a free NFT. So you get a free NFT, free digital asset. Okay. Specs are, I would say mid-range if I had to put it in a category. But
I want Samsung to give me a free NFT.
Yeah.
You guys know Samsung has NFTs, right?
I guess I didn't know that. What do you mean?
Yeah, like so they have NFTs, and if you buy one, it gets you special access to I'm assuming actually, but I think I saw a screenshot of this. It gets you special access to buy things.
Oh, okay.
So it's for real. It's for big fans.
Samsung NFT.
Yep.
And are you talking about the NFT platform for your Samsung TV? I did hear about that.
I'm talking about the Samsung NFT. There's a Discord and everything.
Oh, okay. Because I do remember them talking about offering NFTs.
Here, I'll send you a Digiday. I'll send you a Digiday from the industry link in the Slack.
Because I have to get in on this sweet NFT action from Samsung, really, personally.
Yeah. They came out during NFT NYC last week, which I'm sure Ron ran into a couple times.
Sadly, I did. So.
They have nearly 200,000 members in their Discord.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for their NFTs. So
okay, then. All right, so they're all doing the NFT thing.
Yeah, yep. And you're right. Actually, the Samsung TVs are NFT displaying platforms, which I don't know. It's
forgot about.
It's an interesting time.
Yeah, still not quite sure. I totally understand the time, but nonetheless, there we are. Also, a reminder that HTC had its own blockchain phone. If you remember, they were there first in 2018 with the Exodus One.
Exodus! Wow, what a book of the Bible to go after.
Yeah. And no one remembers that phone other than footnotes like this. So there we go.
It's a footnote now. That's the
HTC Footnote.
Frustrating. HTC Footnote. Oof. Oh, that's very funny. There's a show title if you ever had it.
There you go. That's a good, for sure. It's great to.
Oh boy. All right, we'll stop bagging on phones we don't understand. Flo, you got to watch that.
We understand it. Just to be clear, Jason, I understand it. I just reject it. I don't even reject it. I don't. It's not for me. I'll say that. It's for somebody, but it is not for me. So
truth has never been spoken more.
All right, Flo, you got the wearable news this week.
Yeah, cool. Another wearable for men. Wear OS 3 has come to another smartwatch. The Montblanc Summit 3, to match your Montblanc pen, is the second smartwatch in just a year to come out with Wear OS 3 compatibility. It follows, you guessed it, Samsung's watches. Yeah. There's still nothing else. Now, of course, you will have to take that under the caveat that this is running the Qualcomm Snapdragon Wear 4100 Plus chip, which I think has like a little bit better. It's faring a little bit better than some of the older Qualcomm Snapdragon Wear SoCs, but fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Anyway, you know the saying.
Shame on someone. I don't know. There's some shame there somewhere.
Yeah, there's some shame. 42 millimeters for this watch with a titanium case. So it's going to really look like a real watch. Rotating crown, 2 additional buttons, as is the standard for the Wear OS 3 platform. It actually doesn't look bad for a masculine watch.
Yeah, definitely a masculine watch.
Do. Yeah, I definitely like the way it looks.
Got that big chunky crown on the side.
Yeah, which some people like.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
If you like it, that's fine. $1,290, and it is on sale July 15th. Wow. I will be very curious to see if
Ron buys one.
Yeah.
I think it would look nice on Ron's wrist.
Sure. I don't like things on my wrists, so I'm probably not going to do it. So,
I don't know how much Giorgio Armani cologne, though, that Ron wears. Okay, I'm sorry to everybody.
Oh, come on. Flo, I told you that in confidence. Come on.
Ouch. $1,300 for this smartwatch. That's a little pricey.
It's the titanium case, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the Montblanc pens go for like what? I was looking at one for 500, 400, 700. So I mean, this.
And check Costco. That's where they're on sale. Check Costco. Wholesale.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe
yes, that's
Costco.
Where you go buy your
wholesale.
Jewelry and things.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Where is that?
Go buy it.
The more you know.
Buy it.
There it is. So stylish. Okay.
It is stylish. It looks nice.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice. It does. But we're just all waiting for the Pixel Watch, so whatever.
Right.
No, I'm waiting for Swatch.
Swatch? Is Swatch in the wearable game? Do they have?
No.
Yeah, they are. Weren't they?
Don't they? No?
No, I think they make bands for like the Apple Watch, which...
Swatch smartwatch. Yeah, I'm doing searches, but...
I bet you it's some weird contractual thing. They're like, we can only
Swatch
make
introduced the smartwatch.
watches.
A Touch 01 for volleyball. What?
Okay, so they have some.
Now I'm looking.
That's back in 2015. That doesn't. 2015 doesn't count anymore. They had a smartwatch in 2015, and then
the T10.
Yeah, it looks like here you go. It looks like the day before the pandemic started.
Yes.
There's an article.
No, you're right. You're right, man. You're so right.
Here, I'm putting it in the doc there, Burke.
It was like right before the pandemic. That's
March
so
22nd, 2020. The Swatch Group arrives on the smartwatch market. The long-awaited T-Touch Connect Solar that Swatch Group presented at its annual news conference.
I'll give you a link.
So
here, I'm just going to paste the link in all the places so that Burke can look anywhere he wants and he'll find it.
So did that ever come out? Did the T-Touch Connect Solar?
Good question. Yeah, because I don't remember hearing about the T-Touch Connect Solar from the Swatch Group.
It's from Tissot, Tissot.
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 And one of his quotes was, "I'm convinced we'll see an upturn in the near future." This was the day before COVID. So
it's not by Swatch. It's by Tissot, who I think is owned by Swatch.
Oh, okay. All right.
Boy.
Yeah, what we need is a whole line of really colorful, playful, kid-focused Swatch watches, smartwatches. And you can get them for like $80 or something.
So Swatch doesn't actually have one, but Tissot does.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I remember Swatch watches.
Yep.
They were the rage, that's for sure.
I had the best one
back in junior high. Oh yeah, what was
Which
yours?
is the best
It
one?
was like it was like fluorescent colors, like layered, and then I totally scratched the what out of it skateboarding, and then promptly broke it skateboarding later.
Well, yeah, you had to get the little Swatch protector. Do you remember like the rubber?
Little rubber,
yeah,
yes, the bumper,
I did,
the bumper
but,
thing.
not right.
I will say,
it didn't help
I will
after
say,
it was broken.
I will say that in the mid 90s, the Swatch with a black X on the face was very popular in the underground hardcore straight edge scene. That was quite the fashionable accessory if you were a straight edge kid in 1993 listening to Snapcase.
I just got it because it was black.
All right, so Swatch, we know what you're doing next. You're releasing a smartwatch at some point, and you're totally going to be a big success. That's what's.
I love the day before the pandemic started.
Oh,
God, that's so great. So our last bit of hardware news is related to one of our favorite topics, Qualcomm Snapdragon Insider phone. Which, by the way, Flo, you got one of these, right? You got a Snapdragon Insider's phone, right?
Yeah, because you're a fan, right?
Yeah,
you're a super fan.
I'm not an insider. No,
you're the leader of the fan club.
If you had been one of the lucky to get the Snapdragon Insider's phone, you finally got your software update.
Finally.
So after being 6 months outdated, it finally got the update. That's the good news. The bad news, and there's a lot of it here, it's still on Android 11. Right. More bad news. The update brings the device up to the April 22 security patch level. So closer, but still not.
But yeah.
Even more bad news. This update breaks Google Pay and the Play Store for some users. And apparently it's no longer Play certified after this update. And then even more bad news. Qualcomm removed mention of an eventual update to Android 12 from its website. So now the bad news is that you can expect updates every 2 to 3 months for this phone.
Okay.
And the worst news of all is if you own this phone, you paid $1,500 for it, and you're still on Android 11.
Wah, wah, wah. This is what super fans get. Wow. They get super fan treatment. Yep.
This is what you get for being a super fan of Snapdragon, of like the processor. Right?
So we had a mail last week where Rogelio from Manila thanked Qualcomm because he lives in the Philippines. Thanked Qualcomm for not releasing it in his country, or quote, making it not my problem.
That's right.
Rogelio, that email is even more amazing this week because look at all the other problems.
Oh my goodness.
So,
incredible.
What a mess.
So we thank Qualcomm again for not making it Rogelio
Thank
or a
you,
lot of our
Qualcomm.
problems. Thank you, Qualcomm.
Oh, what a total mess. That's kind of crazy. How to drop the ball in 10 parts right there. Okay, well, again, the offer still stands. Anyone who watches or listens, AAA at twit.tv, 347-SHOW AAA. If you have one of these phones, you bought them, maybe you bought it and sold it, I don't care. If you put money down on this phone, I want to hear from you. Tell us what you thought when you got it, how you feel about the phone, or anything, really. I just want to hear from someone who has one. So there you go. Let us know. I guaranteed placement in our feedback section if you do that. All right. Coming up next, we've got some app news. All right. Password time. Password news time.
It's password news time. All right. We've been talking about passkeys for a bit as being the future of authentication for most big tech companies with the FIDO Alliance and how they're pushing for passwordless authentication in the future. That feature's not quite here yet. So we're getting a little bit of a stopgap from Google and its own password manager. So just to review some basics, generally speaking, you don't store passwords plain text. That's bad because if an attacker actually is able to get the data, they could easily see your password and use it in other places. So generally what happens is your password is generally encrypted using a key. Could be symmetric, could be asymmetric. That scrambles your password in a mathematic way that can be decrypted by somebody else. So what's happening is that generally before this update, Google had been storing this key that is used to encrypt your passwords in with your Google account. And then Google itself is actually using this key to encrypt and decrypt your passwords. Well, no more. Google is rolling out progressively a on-device encryption. So what happens is rather than Google keeping your encryption key for you, you will keep it yourself on your device, and it will live there, and it will be in fact you via your device that's actually encrypting and decrypting your password. So in effect, Google will never actually see your passwords, and that's going to be quite a bit more secure. It does come with some trade-offs, like things like some auto login on some sites won't work. You won't be able to like kind of manually update, like do the manual security checks on your password. But generally, this is going to be a much more secure future as we wait for passkeys to come around, because again, you are the one that owns that key, which is the important part of keeping your passwords managed by password managers encrypted. So this is rolling out. Not everybody has it yet, but it will be rolling out soon. You can go enable it on passwords.google.com, or if you are on Android, you can go into your settings app, go to the Google settings, manage your account, go to security tab, and click on the password manager. For Chrome users, you are going to get it on beta 103, and you can go to settings, passwords, and then set it up on device encryption. So a couple of things also to note is that once you turn this on, you cannot turn it off. And it is really, really important for y'all. Google is super, super, super emphasizing that you need account recovery set up for your Google account. Because if you lose access to your Google account, you're going to lose access to your passwords. So make sure you have that set up, and you can enroll new devices in Google Password Manager, and that will require like multi-factor authentication. I'm actually really curious about the specifics of like this on-device encryption and keys and having other devices. If you're a crypto expert, write in and let us know how registering new devices with this on-device encryption works. I'm really super curious. It is not my forte, but anyway, more secure. You're all going to get it soon. And a couple other things to go along with this is that the Google Password Manager, since they're kind of beefing it up, you are going to get an Android home screen shortcut for that, so that you can easily access Password Manager from a shortcut on your home screen rather than having to go through like a bunch of settings menus. You do have to be on Google Play Services version 22.18. And if you go into settings, /privacy /autofill services from Google and passwords, you'll be able to find a setting that allows you to pin a shortcut to the password manager to your home screen, which is super, super, nice. Super awesome, super convenient. I do something similar with 1Password because I'm using 1Password, but this actually would be kind of awesome. It might be a reason to switch. And finally, that version of Chrome that has on-device encryption 103 is actually kind of that Chrome version that's for Android is swapping the password manager to be the kind of default Google Play Services password manager interface that you see, rather than kicking out to the kind of standard Chrome interface. It's a small change, but it's really just more tightly using the Android interface. So anyway, there is your cornucopia of password-related news for June 28th, 2022. More secure. Get your account recovery set up. It's super, super important. And then eventually one day we'll have passkeys and don't have to worry about any of this junk. So
yeah, and I will make sure not to set this up while I'm doing a live show, because if I did that, I'd probably lock myself out of my account. Not that that's happened before.
Come on.
But
let's do it again. It'll be so much fun to watch, though, and participate with. So.
Start watching the beads of sweat collect on my forehead as I realize my digital life is flashing before my eyes.
You did a
the
bad
veins
thing.
popping out of your forehead.
It's no fun. It's no fun when that happens. That's great. That sounds really good to have that on-device encryption tied to it, and also shows how Google is leaning more and more into the kind of they're requiring people more and more to use two-factor and to use these encrypted methods and everything. And I'm kind of interested in that, because I remember when we started hearing news of them requiring two-factor for certain users, everybody was quick to kind of jump to, so many people are going to lock themselves out. This is going to be a nightmare, because we like to go to like worst case scenario. But I haven't really heard of many situations like that happening. So apparently Google's doing something right and in the process protecting people more than they were protected before. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I know we've had conversations about this because of passkey and the fact that even with passkeys, you're still authenticating through one of the big tech companies, whether it's Google or Apple or Microsoft. So in a sense, this is kind of, yes, you're still doing it through Google, but the key, which is the important thing, is something that you own. So it's not like Google is stepping away and letting you manage like your own security fate, but it does feel a little more like they're aware of kind of like not of the actual security concerns and then maybe even the optics of it, and trying to be more like, hey, this is yours. Like, I'm not going to touch it anymore. And so trying to kind of move to an actually more secure feature, even if it's not as convenient, say with like, for example, again, with like having to make sure that your account recovery is set up and this doesn't turn off if you turn it on, and things like certain auto log is not working. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder work before we get to passkeys, but I really do think like this is a decent step towards trying to make passwords a little more secure for now.
Yeah.
For now.
Agreed.
For now.
In this weird transition period that we're in with passwords. Who knows how long that's going to last? 10 years from now, we'll be looking back at this and we'll be like, oh, yeah, we had no idea what we were doing. Check out where we are now. That's just the way it works. That Hangouts bell is tolling. Dong, dong, because now it appears that November 2022 is its official end of life date. I don't think we have an actual date in. Close enough. It's good enough. I'll accept that. I don't know that we have an actual like date on the calendar that you can put a pin in and say this is the last day of Hangouts, but November 2022 apparently is that time. Starting today, most people are going to get a message in Hangouts that says it's time for chat in Gmail. And this is actually going to trigger the classic Hangouts app to stop working for you and point you over to chat. Google does say that those conversations, they're going to migrate over automatically. But they also say, quote, some conversations or portions of conversations won't automatically migrate from Hangouts to chat. We will email impacted users with more information around September 2022. So it sounds like for some of you, this is going to happen. For others, it might not happen, at least not with everything. And, more details to come. Hangouts.google.com, that client is going to continue working until sometime in October 2022. And then, like I said, November is going to be the end of life. Google takeout deadline for downloading all of that precious chat data that you have in there. If you want it, you're going to have to get it 1 month after Hangouts stops working officially. So those are kind of your timetables for those of you who are still hanging out on Hangout and not letting go. You're going to have to let go here pretty soon.
I just love that Google's doing so much work to keep Killed by Google busy. All right, I'm sure he's loving this.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess he's not really doing any work until Hangouts is dead, right? Because Hangouts isn't on the list until Hangouts is done. So,
yep.
I mean, not that he isn't busy with all the other things that Google kills throughout the year. It happens. But any Hangouts hangers on to Hangouts here? I really don't. I don't use it anymore.
No,
I've officially switched to chat.
use Google Chat. I've migrated over.
Yeah, me too.
And by the way, I had a seamless transition over to Google Chat.
Yeah, me too.
Brought over all my, all my conversations, and it was fine.
Good.
I stopped using Hangouts years ago when they cut off the integration between Hangouts on air and YouTube live streams.
Oh, Hangouts on air.
Do you remember that?
I forgot. Yeah.
Oh.
I remember that.
Hangouts on air and the direct plug into YouTube, it was great. It was fantastic. And then we had to over at iFanboy, I had to re-architect our entire back-end live stream system because that's what it was built around. Because you connect to people on Hangouts and then broadcast it. And I still don't understand why they cut that.
Hangouts.air, by the way, debuted in 2012 at Google I/O, or around the time of Google I/O as well. So
there it is.
That's another thing that year.
2012 Google I/O might go down in history as the most memorable one.
It's for certain.
That's for sure.
It's the one that I think of. Yeah.
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end. Wow. So scary. So dire.
Well, to move on to our last story, the end of the beginning. As everybody knows, I talked about it at the top of the show. I'm an avid pinball player. I have a startup and related to pinball. So you can imagine how delighted I was when Jason made it known to me that someone had ported the classic 3D pinball from Windows to Android. I will go on record that numerous active competitive pinball players that I know cite this game on Windows as something that got them into the hobby.
Oh, really? I mean, it's a good digital pinball game. I have to say, I was playing it earlier and I couldn't stop playing it.
Yeah, and so for our video viewers, Jason has it installed on his phone and he's playing it, and it's a blast from the past. I played this so many hours on my Windows machines. You might remember there was a 2D version of Space Cadet on earlier versions of Windows, and this is the 3D version, which has got ramps and really cool pop bumpers and stuff like that. So
yeah, what I don't understand is there's obviously something, if you show my screen, there's obviously something over here.
And like another machine, it looks like.
Yeah, but I can't get to it because
that's weird. Well, so
no, that's my side swipe back. That's my gesture. Yeah. That's gesture.
Yeah, that's your gesture, right?
But, I guess I could turn off gestures.
What if you tap on the machine itself from the center and try to drag? There's nothing there. Yeah.
No.
I bet that's not a problem on a skinnier phone. This looks like almost I don't know anything.
I see. I get it. I went to landscape and there it is.
Oh, there it is.
It's my score.
It's the score. It's the score box, and everybody probably remembers the Space Cadet score box. That's one of the big aspects of it.
So. Okay, that's what it is. But I don't. But this is the way to play it. Like,
so,
I don't want to play
so if this looks rough around the edges, that's because it is. You could go find it on GitHub at github.com/fexed FEXED/pinball-on-Android. And if you go to that URL /releases, that's where you can get the APK for the download page from it. So github.com/fexed FEXED/pinball-on-Android/releases. And that's where you get the APK. So cool little homebrew project. A lot of fun.
Totally. It
so good.
Takes me right back. Like the sound effects and everything. When I started playing it, I was like, oh yeah, because I saw the article first. I think it was in Reddit, actually. Somebody posted it in Reddit. And I was reading through and I was like, I vaguely remember a pinball game with Windows. I'm going to install this and see. And then I installed it and I started playing. I was like, oh, I remember all these sound effects. Holy cow. It just came rushing back to me. So, so cool.
Crazy.
I love it.
A lot of fun. Very cool.
I love nostalgic stuff like that. Puts a smile on my face. All right. Coming up next, your feedback. That's up next. AAA at twit.tv, 347 show AAA. And Ron, you have the first one.
I'm up first.
Yep.
All right. Our first email comes from Victor, who says, hey guys, I traded my Note 20 and purchased the Z Fold 3 because I figured the third gen was ready for prime time. It's that great moment when new technology and when you make the decision that it's ready for prime time. That's such a great feeling, isn't it? So Victor says, after 8 months, the inside screen protector started to peel off. It is possible to remove it, but it voids the warranty.
Don't do that.
And getting it repaired is free once, but has to be mailed in. The local UFixit shops don't have the part, and I was advised it takes 4 to 8 hours to replace it. Luckily, Samsung took this quote-unquote broken 8-month cell as a trade-in for $1,000, and I was able to get an S22 Ultra for just an extra $200. Never again. Foldables have a long way to go. I'm sticking with the Note 22. Keep up the good work. And I believe there's a photo of it. Yes, so there's a photo of his... I mean, and that's the concern about these foldables with that spot, that crease, that spot. That is the weak point, right? And the more you use it, So
now, when you have the Fold, you have the Z Fold, right?
I do. Yeah, and I was telling Jason this weekend that so my Pixel 6 Pro took a dive off the dining table and fell flat on my sister's ceramic floor.
Oh, that's hard.
I got the sound. So I've been using the Z Fold 3 for several days, and confession, I have started to like parts of One UI. I feel like I've betrayed my Android dev brethren, but I'm starting to really like this form and this form factor. I'm starting to really like this, y'all. Like I'm really getting, and so now I'm actually kind of concerned now that this is a really good form factor. You're going to love it. But if a consumer gets that after 8 months, that's going to kill it. Yep. It's going to feel like once bitten, twice shy. So I'm actually really enjoying this experience. And I'm really, Victor, thank you for writing in, because now I know. So
also, like,
bittersweet.
A screen that takes 4 to 8 hours to replace is a huge fail in any way you look at it. No matter what,
that is like amount of time to replace a screen.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
I mean, just imagine the amount of money that Samsung is losing by comping every owner of this phone one free display replacement if the labor is 4 to 8 hours. It's insane.
Maybe that's because like they've never seen one before. I don't know, which seems reasonable, but you would never charge anybody ever that much. I mean, they would gladly charge Samsung. Yeah.
How hard is it to do it? You know, like that's the other thing. If it takes 48 hours, it's got to be a complicated repair. And
absolutely.
And then what are the odds that the guy at You Fix It can do it, right? And it's just, oh man, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because how many people have these phones? So how many times is that person having to do this? So, you know, they don't have the benefit of doing it several times and getting to all the, you know, whatever nitty gritty of it. Like, you know what's insane though is like that little screen protector. So there's like this, I thought that when I first got this phone, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. I left the plastic on. I did actually leave the plastic on. So actually, by the way, that's the front. Do y'all have that?
You just...
Wow.
I didn't know what just happened there. I honestly, I thought that was the inside. I was like, no.
Chaos.
But okay, so that was...
That freaked me out.
It's like, F this phone.
Razor warranty.
I was like, she just mic dropped. Like, seriously, hardcore. That's crazy.
That was great. That was awesome.
So that was the front. Okay, that was the plastic that came on the front.
Jeez.
And then there's a similar piece of plastic on the inside, which is what Victor's talking about. And like when I first got this phone, I tried to peel it off. Like probably a lot of other people.
Oh yeah,
another huge fail.
Do not
Never
peel that off.
Like, how about just a little sticker that tells you, "Don't tear me off.
Don't
tear me off. Whatever, it's fine."
It might have come with it, but it was very confusing because then the front peels off.
Yeah,
so actually,
don't make it confusing. That's all I have to do.
Well, that's why I left this on for the last 8 months, because I was like, well, if the inside doesn't come off, then maybe the outside doesn't come off. So, but yeah, no, sorry, I just freaked everybody out.
I wasn't prepared for it. You did that for a very split second. I thought that was the inside display. I was panicking for you. It's like, no. Although it would make great TV.
It would be. He's total clickbait. That'd be a great thumbnail, Victor, for Victor for the week. It's just me just destroying my full thing on camera.
We're doing that.
Yeah, indeed. Oof. Okay. Well, switching gears, no pun intended. When you have the next one.
Okay, let's come down from that one. We've got a email from Adrian.
A self-addressed stamped envelope sent in to us.
From Adrian about the sad end of Android Auto on phones. Adrian writes in saying, I was listening to the show last week, and sadly, Android Auto on the phone screen is no more. Here are a couple of options, though, that I preferred to Android Auto on the phone screen the days before I had Android Auto in my car. The Automate, car dashboard, Automate, driving and navigation apps on Google Play, and Drive Mode, also an Android app on Google Play. Automate was based on the same UI as Android Auto, but Drive Mode was a different take on what your phone screen should be in the car. Thanks for the great company of my evening jogs. Not on your evening jobs, on your evening jogs. Thank you, Adrian. Actually, this is really funny because I remember Drive Mode because in 2016, I was at an Android conference, and actually at Drive Mode, at least back then, their primary development team was in Tokyo, and I was at a conference in Tokyo. It's actually where my husband and I got engaged. And I actually interviewed one of the Drive Mode devs about what it's like developing an app for, that's me. Oh my God, that was like me like 6 years ago. And I was interviewing one of the Drive Mode devs about kind of like what are the different things you had to think about when developing an app for driving mode. So that was really interesting. Anyway, I thought that was really cool that Adrian brought that up because I hadn't thought about it in years. But yeah, there you go. 2 good suggestions if you are sad and missing your Android Auto for phone screens. We'll
see about that. We'll see. I have been really, really upset by the deprecation of the Android Auto for phone screens because I really relied on that in my car. And it's been a really awful experience using Google Maps driving mode. And I've been having problems with Google Maps. I can't tell if this is a Verizon/carrier issue, or if this is an issue with a bug that's going on with Google Maps, but I'm getting a lot of crashes where the GPS is completely off and it just like freezes up. It doesn't know where I am. We've gotten lost in the last couple of weeks because of Google Maps. This has actually happened on the full Android Auto in the family car, as well as the Google Maps on the phone. So it's been a really frustrating time for Google Maps users who rely on it in the car. I'm going to say that. Whatever's going on behind the scenes. And I tried, it's not included on this list, but I tried an app to try and replace Android Auto for the phone screen, and I paid for it, but I waited too long to say I didn't like it because now I can't get a refund. It doesn't it doesn't work with my Rove Bolt in my car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't turn on the hands-free voice access, which is what I desperately need when I'm behind the wheel.
Interesting.
So two
I've had to pull
thoughts.
over a couple times. Anyway.
Two thoughts unrelated to you pulling over. One is that when you said, who knows what drama is going on behind the scenes, would you watch a reality show based around the Google Maps product team and the drama of that?
Only if we could create character arcs for each developer. Sure. So we need to get.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the point. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the drama in your life that you can bring to the table?
Right. Number two, earlier in the show, I mentioned I was up in Sturbridge, Massachusetts this weekend, where I used my AA wireless on my phone to use Android Auto and my Samsung, and can I just say it was just delightful. It was wonderful. Oh. So the firmware updates,
Subaru, right?
Yeah, the firmware updates to the AA wireless device are great. The app has evolved. It's great.
Nice.
The battery drain wasn't too bad. It wasn't like it was before. I think I had Wi-Fi. I think I had Wi-Fi off. I think it was working over Bluetooth. I'm not sure. It might have been on Wi-Fi. I forget. But yeah, I drove from New York to Massachusetts with it on wireless the whole time, and it was perfect.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Ron, does Android Auto crash for you in your Subaru? Because it constantly crashes for both my husband and I on both our phones.
It doesn't crash for me. I have a problem. I do have a problem with it, but I think it's more on the Subaru side because it's like not because Android Auto is in the main OS. They have their own Starlink OS, and there are times where it doesn't initiate, and I need to turn the car off and turn the car back on, and then it will go. But once it's working, it always stays fine. So,
It's just
there it is. All my Android drama.
Wow.
Excellent.
Flashback. Old bumper there. You've been waiting. You've been waiting for your opportunity, Burke. You're like, there's got to be a drama moment.
That's a good one.
Play
Indication.
This bumper. All right, Flo, you had the honors this week.
I just really want to thank you so much for giving me the honor of reading this week's email of the week. I'm excited. Thank you for giving me this honor. This email comes in from Vaughn. Thank you, Burke.
He's just going to play it every 5 seconds. Don't be distracted.
You know what? That's fine. I know Burke. Inside and out. So this comes from Vaughn. Vaughn writes in, listening as the LED lights on the back of the Nothing phone were being described, and one particular part caught my attention. Specifically, the back of the phone lighting up when there is an incoming call and /or notification. This reminds me of growing up with my deaf mother. Whenever the phone would ring, a light in the dining room next to her TTY would flash so that she would know the phone was ringing. While for most people, the LED lights lighting up for incoming calls and notifications are just fluff and something we will turn off after 3 or 4 days, like Ron, I can see a lot of potential uses for the hard of hearing community. Right now, they either have to depend on having the phone on their person and feeling it vibrate, or just have a habit of checking it every so often. Being able to have it on the desk in view, but not on your person at all times so you don't miss that important text could be a very interesting benefit of the back LEDs. Thanks for the show.
Love it.
Vaughn, I think that's a really important perspective, and I appreciate you writing in. And I will say that this is something that was discussed last week in the tech bubbles about how this would be a really helpful feature for accessibility, which is why I kind of missed that little Android notification light that used to be standard on all phones.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like that notification light on steroids, though. It's like your entire back of your phone is that notification light. But really eye-catching, I think the point is really good, Vaughn. In one circle, it's flashy. Wow, they're really trying to flash us and wow us. But in another circle, it's total utility, right? And that's great.
And TTY stands for teletypewriter.
Teletypewriter.
Thank you, Burke. I didn't have it on top of my head, and I didn't want to butcher it. But that was what was used back in the day to communicate.
Yep. Cool stuff. Well, thank you, Vaughn.
For writing in our...
That's right.
Yeah.
Go.
Email of the week.
I didn't want to steal it from you.
We got to give it to Vaughn for writing in this week's... Email of the week.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Hooray. Hooray. Excellent. Well, thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, everyone, for writing in and watching and listening and keeping us doing shows. That's how we keep doing shows. That you guys choose to continue coming back and watching and listening. We really appreciate you. Also, really appreciate you, Win. Thank you so much for each and every week offering your perspective on this show. Tell people if you have anything kind of in the works or you want to leave people with. What is it?
Yeah, actually, I'll share some big news this week. This week is actually my last week at Trello /Atlassian.
Wow.
I'm going to be starting a new job very soon. I'll let y'all know right near when I start it. I'm actually really excited about it, and hopefully we'll talk about it a little bit more then. But yeah, this is going to be my last week at Trello. But I'm still doing Android stuff, and I will still continue to do Android stuff. And you can find out about my Android stuff at my website, randomlytyping.com. And kind of normally, I got applause for quitting my job. Awesome.
No, it was applause for still doing Android stuff.
I'm still doing Android stuff. Absolutely.
Phew.
What? Queen Code Monkey on Twitter and Instagram. But yes, I will be unemployed for a little bit longer, and I'll let you know where I end up. I already have it planned out.
Better have some fun.
Yeah.
You better have some fun. I want to see you having fun on social media.
Yeah.
I will.
Nothing but fun.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
That's
No,
a
actually,
challenge.
just
pressure. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, right? That's a lot of pressure. Don't listen. Yeah. You do you. And congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that you've got something new in the works and can't wait to hear what that is. So, big time congrats. Flo, what about you?
Me? Well, a little me. I am over at gizmodo.com. You can actually go to my vanity URL, which is flowrights.tech, and that will take you immediately to my author page at gizmodo.com, so you can see everything that I've written. I write daily there, and I write about Android, the smart home, and sometimes Apple. Yeah, that's on my beats too. I also wanted to tell everybody that Gadgets, the podcast, is no longer a podcast. It is now a YouTube show.
Oh, wow.
So if that's something in your repertoire, I've Burke pasted a YouTube link with a mark to start off at one of the segments. And so it's basically the podcast in video form, but we have more visual aids now. So it's basically just think about it like all about Android, but it's not live.
Yeah.
And I have a background because I have a green screen. So I have a background every week. And you can check us out over at Gizmodo's YouTube page.
Right on.
Oh,
that's so cool. You've graduated to YouTube on video on YouTube. That's awesome.
Yeah. I have to say, we've reached the time where video is a little easier than audio.
Oh. Isn't
Sadly,
that weird? That's weird.
It's really weird. The number of audio podcasts I listen to where they let slip or mention that they're recording via Zoom, and I hear Burke in the back of my head. Just like, oh God, why are you doing that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Well, congrats, Flo. That's awesome. That's a step up.
Check that out.
Yeah, right on. Cool. We'll do. And then what about you, Ron? What you got?
Well, if you like your old-fashioned podcast audio with no video, you can head over to ifanboy.com, where this month's Media Explode, I'm on there talking with the guys about Top Gun, both the original Top Gun as well as Top Gun Maverick. So if you want to hear a lot of fun discussion about 80s and 2020s movies, head over there, ifanboy.com. I think it's like the second most recent episode on there. So yeah.
Is the new Top Gun worth seeing in IMAX? Is that?
Oh, I didn't. I have no idea. I'm generally anti IMAX because I get a headache. It's just my neck hurts. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
It is worth seeing in the theater though. I would recommend that.
That's what I've been hearing. I got to get there before it's suddenly no longer there. Which
I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be all right because it's crossed $1 billion at the box office. It's still doing well, really? So I don't think they're going to pull it soon.
Yeah, they're not going to pull it anytime soon if that's the case. All right, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Burke, for your heavy sighs in between your pushing successfully and unsuccessfully of buttons on the TriCaster today.
I was doing my deepest silent sigh when I heard Top Gun.
Yeah, I heard that one. I heard that. I hear all of your sighs out of this ear because I don't have anything in it.
Because I deafened you with the other ear with my sighs.
Wait, so is Burke her?
What?
Is Burke her?
Oh, the movie, the Joaquin Phoenix movie, the Spike Jonze movie with the little thing and the ear thing. And
if he was like if she was screaming maybe, or then sighing so loud it would deafen you in an ear.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that movie. Apparently I need to see that movie. It comes up a lot, I've noticed. Thank you, Burke. Also, thank you to Victor, even more behind the scenes, kind of wrapping up the show, editing it, publishing it so that you get it in podcast form. Couldn't do it without you as well, Victor. So thank you. Find me on Twitter at Jason Howell. Normally I would do Tech News Weekly with Micah, but tomorrow I'm hitting the road. Well, actually now we're flying. We were going to do a road trip and we were going to have a Tesla to do the road trip. But then when I mapped it out, I was like, oh, we're not doing this. It was going to add another 3 hours to our trip. And it was all sketchy. So we ended up getting some plane tickets. That's totally like information you didn't actually need, but I just thought that was interesting. So anyways, long story short, I'm not going to be on Tech News Weekly. I'm also not going to be on this show next week, as well as some, Tech News Weekly next week. I'm going to be out. So, but still check it out. twit.tv/TNW. Micah's going to have Denise Howell on to talk all about the major Roe v. Wade news and how that's impacting technology. It's going to be a really interesting discussion. I know it. So check that out on Thursday, twit.tv/TNW. A few quick things. Club Twit, twit.tv/clubtwit. If you know about it or if you don't, it's basically our ad-free subscription tier. You also get some exclusive content that you don't get outside of the club and more in the works. So really interesting stuff there. And then also access to a members-only Discord. $7 a month, twit.tv/clubtwit. Also want to let you know, if you go to twit.tv/store, we've talked about merchandise, right? Twit merchandise in the past. But if you're watching the video version or if you notice in your podcatcher, all of our Twit shows basically have new podcast art. A few of them are lagging, but they're going to get it within days. So our merch has been updated, so you can get the new All About Android logo on a t-shirt or any of the other options through the store at twit.tv/store. So check it out. You can update and revise your wardrobe, because I know your wardrobe is filled with, it's like Mark Zuckerberg. Some of you out there, you have 7 different color shirts of the same All About Android legacy logo. It's time to update. That's it. Yeah, hoodies even. See, there you go. So check it out, twit.tv/store. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We do the show every Tuesday evening. twit.tv/AAA is the show page on the web where you can find all the ways to subscribe. Audio, video, YouTube, everything is listed there for you. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time on All About Android. Bye, everybody.
Did you spend a lot of money on your brand new smartphone and then you look at the pictures on Facebook and Instagram and you're like, what in the world happened to that photo? Yes, You have, I know. It happens to all of us. Well, you need to check out my show, Hands-On Photography, where I'm going to walk you through simple tips and tricks that are going to help make you get the most out of your smartphone camera or your DSLR or mirrorless, whatever you have. And those shots are going to look so much better. I promise you. So make sure you're tuning in to twit.tv/hop for Hands-On Photography to find out more.